Do you have an itchy dog? Do you have an itchy cat? Well, then the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly is on the air to answer those itchy questions today on the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly on CPL Radio. Welcome back to a new season of the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly. I guess it's a new year, a new season, and you've been away for a while.
I have, yeah.
So
feels like a long time.
It has been some time since we've been able to come on the radio and talk about critters. And so I hope you were productive in your time away.
We're as busy as ever at work, busier than ever, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, well, then we're glad
all those COVID pets.
COVID pets? Oh,
all
no.
those COVID pets.
Oh, no.
Well, pandemic pets is really what I should say.
Are you getting anyone who's coming in saying, my dog's coughing
dog
a
has
little?
COVID.
He's got a runny nose.
Really, no, but a few people have asked, and we're like, well, yeah, our lab will run the test, but you'll have to pay for it.
At which time they lose all interest at that point.
We haven't done any testing on pets, and really, it wouldn't change anything at home anyway. So.
Try to get a mask on your cat; they'll love it. Yeah,
good luck.
Real good. So allergies, specifically food allergies.
I was going to talk about food allergies in dogs and cats, and I believe that people are very interested in food allergy because I don't know, somehow they hear about it a lot. And I don't know if that's because there's a lot of food allergies in kids and in people, or if it's because the pet food industry, kind of likes to make people think about changing their foods a lot.
We smell money.
Maybe. Yeah, quite possibly. So out of all of the truly allergic pets out there, so there's itchy pets, some of them have allergies. Of all the dogs, for example, who have allergies, itchy skin is their symptom. 10 to 25% have true food allergy. So it makes up not a big proportion of our allergic itchy dogs.
Sure.
Yeah, so 10 to 25%, that's kind of a wide range, but nonetheless, that's the statistic. So a food allergy is different from a food sensitivity. So a food allergy is an immune-mediated reaction in the body. The immune system is responsible for allergies. A food sensitivity or food intolerance is more of a GI-mediated issue, such as some people are intolerant of lactose. That's not an allergy. You're not allergic to dairy. That's different. You are unable to break down lactose and you get GI symptoms because of it. That's a food intolerance or a food sensitivity. It's not a food allergy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what are our pets allergic to in their foods?
Indeed. I'm sure there's a list.
Yes, there are lists.
Let's do a classic Casey Kasem top 40 style. What's number one here in the land?
What is number one in the United States? And that's the thing, because in the UK, the number one protein allergen for dogs is mutton.
Oh.
We don't feed that to our dogs here, but our number one is beef.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so the proteins, the common proteins that are in pet foods are the most common allergens, things they become allergic to. So beef, chicken, then there's also dairy and egg and soy. I don't know where they're getting soy, but that's a common allergen too. For cats, it's beef, chicken, and fish. A lot of cats are actually allergic to fish, even though there's frequently fish flavoring in cat foods, they do like it.
Except mine. She hates fish.
Yeah.
Weird.
I think mine do too, actually.
Although I just gave her we were down we were down to like one can, and it happened to be a fish one. And cracked it open last week, and she hadn't had fish in forever, and she devoured it. Yeah. So I was like, suddenly,
it was this new thing in a way. Yeah,
absolutely. So maybe
she forgot she didn't like fish. It'd been so long. She forgot she didn't like fish.
She's getting older, so yes. Giving her a lot of credit, aren't I?
Food aversions go away when you're senile.
That means in 20 years I'm going to love onions.
Yep.
Good to hear.
And then, let's see, one other common allergen which belongs on that list, but it's not protein, would be wheat.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So we do like to, people like to think that their pets, when they have food allergies, are allergic to grains, but it's much more common that it's the protein sources in the food rather than the carb sources, which AKA are the grains.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see a lot of grain-free foods and people think, well, my pet has itchy skin. Maybe it's food allergy. I should switch to a grain-free food. Okay, there's a little chance that might work, but most of the time it's the proteins that are the culprit.
Interesting. So, are there tests that you can run there in your, like little scratch tests or something? Which
Excellent
I'm
question.
sure the animals would love a good scratch test. They'd be thrilled.
Yeah, they do. They do those for environmental allergens
Okay.
in animals when we are to the point where it's like, okay, we got to desensitize this animal. They do the skin testing.
Oh boy.
There exist blood tests for food allergies and in pets. However, they are not reliable and very unproven. And the logic is, okay, a lot of allergies are mediated by an immunoglobulin in our bodies called IgE. And that's what the tests detect. They detect IgE against, say, this protein or that protein or this, grass and this pollen. Yeah. But food allergies in pets are also largely mediated by cell-mediated immunity rather than immunoglobulin, and there's no test for that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the blood tests that are available are really, they're not that helpful. What's the best test then for figuring out if it's really food allergy? Your pet has to go on a true hypoallergenic diet trial that lasts for a minimum of 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, boy. So you could have 8 weeks of a kind of unhappy pet, right?
So once a pet stops eating anything that they are allergic to, the reaction in their skin, which causes them to itch, starts getting better usually around week 3. And by 8 weeks, 90% of them are in remission.
Okay.
Which means there's still another 10% who, if they have food allergy, need a little bit longer in order to get relief. Yeah. Okay. So it takes a long time for the reaction in the skin to stop. So if you one day, or if a dog one day stops eating everything they're allergic to, it's weeks before they feel better.
Sure,
it's not a quick test at all.
Just kind of hangs on.
Yeah.
So, and it principally shows up via skin. So we're talking itchy, or
yes.
Are there
other symptoms that you might see would be some GI symptoms, so chronically loose stool. A small percentage of food allergic pets who present to the allergy specialists of the veterinary world, who are the veterinary dermatologists.
Sure.
They about 10% of the food allergic pets they see actually present with seizures.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, that's a bad day.
Yeah. I mean, I've certainly seen many dogs who have seizures, but it's almost always epilepsy. And I can't say that I've ever known a dog with food allergy who presents with seizures, but maybe I've seen him and not known. That's quite possible.
Is there a dog breed that food allergies are more prevalent in, like a specific breed? Okay.
Absolutely. So not so in cats, but in dogs, we see a lot. We see more food allergies, specifically in West Highland White Terriers. So Westies.
Yep.
German Shepherds.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They're almost on every list in vet school for every disease. It's kind of sad.
What the heck's wrong with those?
I don't know.
What's going on in Germany?
Exactly. Well, I don't know if it's just the American German Shepherd lines or if it's really all German Shepherds all over the world. Boxers and pugs would be the other two breeds.
Pugs have got a lot of weird stuff going on anyway, don't they?
They do.
No offense to pugs,
they don't need food allergies, but they've got them.
Those bug-eyed,
I definitely see it in the first three I mentioned: the Westies, the German Shepherds, and for sure the Boxers.
Okay.
And food allergies tend to present pretty young. So these tend to be young dogs. However, food allergy can develop at any age.
Oh, boy.
That's quite possible because their immune systems are capable of becoming newly sensitized to different things, including foods at any point in their lives. But food allergic pets tend to be young.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can catch it early and hopefully give them a better quality of life straight out of the gate.
Exactly. Because it definitely does affect their everyday quality of life if you're chronically itchy all over your body.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had a Chihuahua who seemed to maybe be doing that. But again, it was very inconclusive. This was 20 years ago. So, I mean, the vet told us to try some of this like oatmeal shampoo as a
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that seemed to help a little bit.
It helps temporarily.
Right. It was
anytime they have itchy skin, a kind of lukewarm bath, honestly, of any kind of soap is going to help temporarily.
Sure.
Yeah. So on their worst days, hey, a bath will help.
Okay.
Even if it's only for that day.
It's been a lovely Thursday. Okay, interesting. Now, with cats, like you said, it's sort of weird and inconclusive, and there's not a lot of information out there. Is it? I mean, what do we do about
about an itchy cat? Yeah. So really, the same thing. We want to say, well, let's try to figure out why is this cat chronically itchy. One thing we would try at some point would be a hypoallergenic diet trial. So what does that mean? What should they eat? Yeah. There are two general categories of food that can accomplish a good hypoallergenic diet trial. One would be to say, well, this pet has to eat something that they have never eaten before in terms of all the proteins in the food.
Pizza.
And, well, now, see, there's wheat, there's dairy.
Good pizza.
There could be beef on it.
I'm not talking Little Caesars here. I'm talking like, Tommaso's. You're welcome, guys.
So feeding them novel ingredient diets. So what's an example of that? So for cats, that could be... let's see, a popular one would be rabbit and potato or duck and pea.
They sell like rabbit for cats at the stores? I've never heard that.
So that brings up another issue. There are limited ingredient diets available out in pet stores, but when tested, anywhere from 33 to 83% of them, depending on the brand and the specific food, contain detectable levels of proteins that are not listed on the ingredients.
Okay.
So, when you buy a candy bar and it doesn't have any peanuts in it, but it says this is produced in a facility where they process peanuts too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Or my favorite, other natural flavors.
Yeah. So the company is making a limited ingredient diet, but because the same equipment also makes regular, non-limited ingredient diets, there's detectable levels of chicken or beef or soy or dairy or whatever.
So they're not cleaning off their cutlery, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they aren't held to the same standards as what we call quote unquote prescription foods.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Prescription foods meaning only sold through veterinarians or veterinary pharmacies, including online, places.
Sure.
Those are held to higher standards and they are far cleaner, meaning they don't contain the background trace levels of stuff that can produce the same level of reaction.
Sure.
So unique ingredient diets are one way of accomplishing a hypoallergenic diet trial.
Yeah.
The other category, which wasn't around 20 years ago, would be hydrolyzed diets in which every molecule of protein in that diet has been broken down to a size that's too small for the immune system to recognize.
Oh, okay.
So it could contain beef or chicken or wheat or corn or dairy or soy, but the immune system doesn't see it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they work really well.
Pretty high tech.
It is pretty high tech. They're pretty high tech. And I love that we have those hydrolyzed diets now because if I have a very young patient who's pretty suspicious already for food allergy. Their immune system is probably still in its sensitization phase, meaning if I switch them to a unique or a limited ingredient diet, they're going to become allergic. They're still at a stage where they're going to develop a new allergy. So I could make them allergic to rabbit. I could make them allergic to duck. I could make them allergic to venison. And so I can put them on a hydrolyzed diet and not create a new allergy during that sensitization period.
You vets have these magical powers. I'm
wish.
going to make you allergic is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So I've got two burning questions here.
Okay.
The first one being, you see, especially there's a company I think called Blue, and I'm not trying to single them out, but they actually do some, I think, somewhat disingenuous advertising where they'll just have pet owners say, my pet's allergic to wheat, and I put him on Blue, and now they've got these Blue Life Source bits and everything, and now he's perfect. And I thought, that really sounds like pet owners self-diagnosing. I mean, I didn't hear the presence of a veterinarian anywhere in their pitch. So do you get a lot of pet owners who just make this judgment call themselves? And it just sounds problematic.
Absolutely.
It just sounds
and it's
troubling.
Fine. It's like, whatever, we'll just roll with it. I don't care if your dog never eats beef again. It's fine.
Dog cares. Where's my beef? Hey, come on. Where's the beef? Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then the other question, which kind of turns things on its ear a little bit, but I just noticed this last week, and I thought, I wish Dr. Kelly was around, and now you're here, so I have to ask. I noticed that ProPlan, the Purina ProPlan line, which is what we feed our critters, is now selling a food for cats that specifically will make them less allergic for people, like people who are allergic to cats. Is this a real thing right now? Because the first time I saw it was last week, and I thought, oh my gosh, my wife is very allergic to cats and lives with them, and so this ProPlan now is saying something in our food makes the oils or their fur, their dander, whatever, can actually break that down a little bit and make you less allergic to your cat. Is this real?
It is real, but I'll admit I haven't yet learned how it's supposed to work.
Okay.
And again, I know I've probably said this in the past, but what most people who are, including me, who are allergic to cats are
as a cat owner
to, yes, as a cat owner, what most of us are allergic to is a protein in the saliva.
Right, which, and I believe actually this ProPlan brought that up in their advertising too, and I just thought,
so if there's something in the food that either breaks that down while it's in the mouth, however, knowing that cats are, all of us are making saliva all the time.
Right. Cats are spreading their saliva all over their bodies.
All over their fur when they clean themselves.
Right.
Exactly.
Constantly.
That's the problem.
Certainly,
it's everywhere.
Right. Never stops.
So I have heard of that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something to it, but I don't know for the average cat allergic person, how big of a difference does it make? And is it effective for hours or is it effective all the time?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, if they're eating the same food every day, I guess even if it's just for a few hours, you'll eventually get through most of your day.
My cat eats at 6, so therefore I can interact with him between 8 and 10 and be okay. Is it something like that?
I can only smooch my kitty at 9:42 a.m. That's it.
So I'll have to learn about that. There hasn't been a lunch and learn scheduled yet with that topic. So.
Well, hopefully I prompted something. Keep us in the loop here at the Radio Vet. So, all right, well, any parting thoughts on this topic?
Well, let's see. I would say if you have an itchy dog or cat and you've tried switching foods as far as, not only brands, but also, the main ingredients, I would say that because those are likely what we call over-the-counter diets, meaning regular foods, definitely keep in mind you haven't done a real hypoallergenic diet trial because these foods still, all contain, we know, trace amounts of, everything else that those same machines process. And therefore, they just aren't clean enough to actually diagnose food allergies. Yes.
Even though you are a listener, and we appreciate it, of the Radio Vet, it does not make you an actual vet. So you should go visit. You could go visit Dr. Kelly, actually, who is practicing. Although maybe take a few weeks later because it sounds like you're pretty busy.
Yeah, we're sadly busy, overly busy right now.
Yeah, something about the season.
If you're brand new, no, it really is directly related to the pandemic. Yeah,
interesting.
More people got new puppies.
Okay.
And pets in general. And a lot of people delayed care. So we're still catching up on routine care that was due over the summer.
Sure.
And then there's the normal stuff on top of it.
Absolutely.
So,
oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, well, I wanted to come bring my terrier over to say hello to you, but I'll hold off a few more weeks.
We'll see you in June.
Oh, boy. He better take care of himself. All right. This has been the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly, the premier veterinary radio show and podcast on CPL Radio. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.